This is the Bigger Pockets Podcast, show 264.
You're listening to Bigger Pockets Radio, simplifying real estate for investors large and small. If you're here looking to learn about real estate investing without all the hype, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and be sure to join the millions of others who have benefited from BiggerPockets.com, your home for real estate investing online.
What's going on, everybody? This is Josh Dorkin, host of the Bigger Pockets Podcast, here with my co-host, Mr. Brandon Turner. What's going on, man?
I have two questions for you. Who are you and what did you do with Josh? Because I don't know who this bearded bandit guy on the screen is.
Handsome.
That wasn't the word I was going to use. You look.
Oh, wow.
How you doing?
It is January 2nd.
It is officially
we are recording.
We're recording this, yes.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. For everyone else listening to it, happy February.
Yeah, when this comes out. Yeah, I think this comes out February 1st, so happy February. Yes. And I am Josh. I've been somewhat absent over the past month or so.
You have been?
Month. Yeah. Man, I mean, really quick and without diving too deep, had some family stuff go down. Daughter had to undergo procedure, and it just kind of didn't go the way it was supposed to go, and been dealing with some trauma, and it's been hard. It's been hard. Family. I'm always a family first guy, and I'm actually, stepping away from family stuff to record this because I really wanted to do the show. Super pumped about it, but my wife and I, Julie, we've been spending pretty much all of our days taking care of our daughter and trying to get her better. So it's been hard, as you can probably hear. I'm a little emotional, emotional.
It's been tough on you. I know. I've been watching from afar, but
yeah,
I'm glad you're here today. But anyway.
Yeah, man. Anyway, so that's where I've been, and again, I'm super excited to be doing this show, and I just want to give huge thanks to Brandon and everybody else on the Bigger Pockets team for holding the fort down while I've been away. But again, I'm always a family first guy, and right now that's where my time, my energy is. So, but bringing things up a little bit here. Yeah, man. Have you been? Congrats. I think you close on your trailer park today, mobile home park.
I think I closed today. I mean, it might close tomorrow, but it should close today. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. And things are good. The holidays went well. All that good stuff went well. So it's nice to be, sailing off into Hawaii. I should actually be in Hawaii right now.
I should be too, but
I mean, I will be when this episode comes out. I will be in Hawaii. You're going to be in the cold Denver.
Supposed to be in Hawaii. That we had to cancel said trip. So, but yeah, man. All right. Well, so today, before diving into all this stuff, today is a very, very different show than we normally do. Yeah. For a number of reasons. We couldn't quite get the time. Timing was tough. But we were fortunate to have gotten some time out of Gary, our guest, and we got to chat with him about some really interesting stuff, and we'll get there in a second. Before we do, why don't we jump into today's quick tip?
All right, so today's quick tip is actually something I'm looking forward to this year. If this is going to be a total ad, so if you don't care, all right, it's okay. Plug. I'm looking to build out the Bigger Pockets marketing team. We are. Here's the deal. Josh wants to reach, we want to reach a lot more people with Bigger Pockets. I mean, Bigger Pockets already is the largest name in real estate investing, but I want it to be the largest name in the world. Okay. I want to reach more people. Like, I want everyone to know about BP.
That's great. What?
Yeah. So, as such, we are looking to build out our marketing team a little bit. So if you are somebody who is a self-starter, a hustler, a marketing expert, somebody who's worked with like affiliate marketing or Facebook's ads and things like that, I want to work directly with you.
Right. I mean, people out there creating content, people who understand real estate investing, and are just really, really creative.
Yeah, we're looking for you. So
we are.
If that's you, hit us up at jobs@biggerpockets.com. And it might be a job, might be an internship, might be we're just going to work with you in some other way. But just if you're somebody who is a rock star marketing expert, I want to talk to you. So,
and make the subject line.
Marketing expert.
What should we do? Marketing expert.
Marketing expert. And then we'll know to look for that. So anyway, jobs@biggerpockets.com. Hit it up because I want to reach billions of people in the next few years with BiggerPockets. Billions. Yes. All right.
Today's guest is a guy that I've been watching this guy for years, and he's one of those folks that I've long admired because he's always focused on the hustle, always focused on the grind, always focused on hard work. And I've always had the mindset that that's what you really need to be successful. I didn't get angry at people who are like, oh, I've got an idea. Oh, I just got $50 million to fund it. And there you go. Like, good for them. Shoot, man, that's amazing. But everybody hears about that and the media pushes that. And that's not how the world works. There's very, very few people who come up with an idea, raise countless millions of dollars, and suddenly are successful. The average small business person is coming up with an idea and then they work their behinds off in order for it to get somewhere. And that's why I love Gary. I think he's the guy who really tells people, forget about all this nonsense. You have to work hard in order to get there. You really, really do. And so for me, that's the big reason that I wanted to have him. And Brandon, I know you, he's been one of your inspirations as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the main, back 6 years ago, I read his book Crush It, which was fantastic, and it really motivated me to drive my real estate business forward. I mean, let's be clear. Gary Vaynerchuk is not a real estate investor. We like to bring people on the show occasionally who are not, because I believe that real estate is a business. I mean, Josh, you believe that too. Like, if you're good at business, you can be good at real estate, but it's hard to be good at real estate if you're not good at business. So what he drives is entrepreneurship, and how do you become a good entrepreneur? And specifically, Gary talks about how do you harness hustle and social media, those two things, to drive your business. And that's what we focus on today's show. How can a real estate investor really use, and he gives a number of just interesting, cool ideas for how a real estate investor could beat everyone else in your market, so to speak, by doing things that they're not willing to do. And so anyway, I love Gary Vee. I love the book Crush It. He's got a new book coming out called Crushing It. It's kind of a follow-up to the other book, Crush It. He's got a lot of great books out there. But you're going to hear a little bit from Gary Vee today. And again, I wish we would have had like 4 hours to sit with him. But he was actually on vacation.
He was in his car on vacation.
On vacation. He took time to talk with us today, which was awesome. So with that, again, the fact that he's in his car, that's why the sound quality is a little bit lower than normal. But
and why the show's a little bit shorter, because he didn't have a ton of time. Really quick, a little more about Gary. I think he's most famous for growing his family wine business from this $3 million business to $60 million. He's New York Times bestseller. As Brandon mentioned, he runs one of the largest social media companies, agencies out there, Vaynermedia. And he's got the Ask Gary Vee show out on YouTube. So let's bring him in. And by the way, this is a bit of a quicker show.
Do you know he was also a judge at the, I think it was Miss America competition. Do you know that?
I've seen him like all over random places. Like, I mean, his brand continues to grow. So I'm sure, he's going to be hosting some TV show. He's going to have all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, he's got a TV show on iTunes with Jessica Alba, also called Planet of the Apps. So, but yeah, he was a judge on Miss America. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. He was. So anyway, crazy.
Nice. Awesome. Very, very cool. Well, and one day he aspires to own the New York Jets. So there you go. Well, if anyone deserves it, I think he does, because he's working his behind off to get there. So with that, let's bring him in. Gary, welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you. All right, man. So you talk with an insane number of entrepreneurs and wannabe entrepreneurs. So what drives you crazy about most people who call themselves entrepreneurs today?
It's interesting. Maybe it's 2018, new year. You got, kind of new thoughts, fresh thoughts. It's not that it's funny. It's not that I'm crazy. Like, you're a fake entrepreneur and you're making all entrepreneurs look bad, which I think is happening, right? Like, everybody says they're an entrepreneur. So I do think there's a confusion in the system, but I'll be very frank with you. It's not like I feel like that's taking anything out of me, right? Like some 23-year-old dude who's like going out every night and just puts entrepreneur on his Instagram because he wants to hook up and it's like a cool thing. Truth is, what drives me crazy is I just don't want him to be sad at 31, right? Like it's not so much that he's or she's my game. Like I feel like I'll always be okay. It's more empathy of like, that person's insecure. That person doesn't have self-awareness. That person's going to really hit a weird midlife crisis. I really wish that person knew what made them happy. It's not going to be a Rolex. It's not going to be a new Jaguar. That's not going to disguise the insecurities that he or she feels. So what drives me crazy is I think it's one huge Band-Aid for a lot of people who are emotionally soft. And I prefer that not happening to them. One of the reasons a lot of people struggle with, not a lot, one of the reasons 20% of the audience struggles with me at first, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the first time you saw me as a good, I have a very strong reaction one way or the other, because there's a truth in this subject matter where I really know my stuff, and I spit a very strong truth, which becomes overreaction in either direction. I don't want any money from anybody. I'm not trying to sell them my course. What I'm trying to do is help people. And I think what happens is, 80% really love it and 20% don't like that I'm exposing them and shedding the light on it. The thing that drives me crazy, brother, is that I just want everybody to win because I don't think it comes at my expense, right?
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people can win in a lot of different ways, and I just wish they understood what they were actually doing.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we our community of real estate investors, they're, when this community got started, BiggerPockets, we had, everybody was at each other, right? It was, this deep competition. Your neighbor is your competitor. Every other investor is your competitor. And it's like, hey, if you guys work together, we can all dominate. We can all win. And so everybody get together and rock it, right?
And don't get me wrong. Like, I think competition's amazing. Like, I genuinely want VaynerMedia to beat every other agency. I do.
Oh, sure.
like I want my books to do better. I want my event. Like, I want to win. I just don't think my winning is at the expense of another. It's funny. The place where I'm most emotional is sport, is really the Jets, and I used to get very upset probably up until 3 years ago that after the game where I'd be crying, my players who just lost a huge game would be go shaking hands and high-fiving everybody else, right? And it was tough for me to swallow. I was emotional about it. But in business, I'm not emotional, meaning, when other people are winning and, have more successful podcasts or make more money or whatever it may be, it's interesting. I don't get upset because I genuinely do think that everybody can win to their version. Nobody's taking money out of your pocket. Right. You're taking money out of your pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a very big factor. Like, yes, somebody might have got the Dr. Pepper account instead of us, but that's a micro taking out of my pocket. At a macro, nobody's stopping you. And so if you got outbid by $100,000 on this property as an investment, maybe Rick or Sally beat you in that micro, but at a macro, nobody's stopping you from going to the next emerging country, state, beachfront property, development, neighborhood. Nobody. Right. And I think that's a very important thing for people to understand. They're playing against themselves, not against somebody else. While I think it's fun to make pretend or even manipulate you're playing against somebody else just to get your juices going. And I think that's cool. I just think you need to, I think it's an excuse that people use at times to not address their lack of X.
Well, so let's talk about excuses real quick. So 3 of the things that I hear almost every entrepreneur complain about that are, entrepreneur, somebody wants to be one, right? And this is true for real estate investors or not, any kind of person. They lack like 3 things. I hear all the time: no time, no money, no opportunities, or like no deals out there or whatever, right? We hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say to people who complain about those things? I don't have any time. I have kids. I've got a family. I've got life.
They're wrong. I mean, well, listen, then don't be an investor. Don't be an entrepreneur. Like, my mother is my hero. She was a stay-at-home mom. Hasn't made a nickel in her career. Biggest inspiration of my life. The foundation of my trillions. Like, then don't fake it. Like I'm a workaholic and I spend time with my family in extremes, but here I am in the week that I'm supposed to spend time with my family. I'm sitting in a car with you jerk-offs because I just don't.
You love us,
shit, right? You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Don't like everybody's got strengths and weaknesses. Lack of opportunity, lack of money, lack of time are absolutely fundamental excuses for an entrepreneur. They're excuses. Now, if you choose to parent deeper if you don't have natural energy and your demeanor and your chemicals in your body needs more rest or escapism, that's just your real life. But don't act like that's like me. What I'm fascinated by is the things that we can't lie about physically, but we lie about emotionally or mentally. Meaning, I can't walk around and say I'm a 7-foot basketball player. You can just look at me and understand that's not true. But people can say they're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But the definition for me of an entrepreneur is somebody who's a firefighter, who can emotionally deal with a ton of, who's lonely, who's a grinder, who's got intestinal fortitude, as Gorilla Monsoon in WWF used to say. But you can't see that on the outset. Yeah. I can't see that in the three of us right now watching this. So that gets exposed over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Of all the entrepreneurs that I've met, the ones that I admire the most, it's not necessarily hours in the seat. Hours in the seat. One of the hard lessons I learned over the first 8 years running my company was I was working 80, 100 hours a week, every single week, at the expense of my family, at the expense of my health. And, granted, I am successful today because of that. Yeah. There is no doubt. However, would I be successful had I done it smarter? Had I worked less hours? I probably would have. Look, it's not hours in the seat, right?
Listen, it's hours in the seat, but it's also smart hours in the seat. Yep. Look, I always use sports. It makes sense. I could play 50,000 more hours of basketball over the last 2 decades. No question. Would I be a much better player? Would I be NBA worthy? Absolutely not. And so sure. Skill matters. Talent matters. So for me, I have talent in selling stuff, in marketing and communication, and hours in the seats. And that's why I think I'm an anomaly, enigma. I think I get to sit where I get to sit because of both. Here's my thing, and this is why I love hours in the seat. It is more controllable than being born with gifted natural ability. Yeah. The end. So now, to die of a heart attack at 42, to become a crackhead, to get a divorce of somebody you really loved, there's so many things in life that matter besides being successful professionally. And the one that scares me the most is the people that don't know themselves. Meaning, this is the person that I'd love to reach this early in the year in 2018. If you make $211,000 a year, let's first start with that. That's a lot of money, a lot. If you're going to ruin everything else to get the 317, that's stupid because 211 and 317 are totally close in the scheme of things. What? You're going to get one better suit, one more vacation? That's not smart.
Right.
To me, it's about knowing yourself. For me, I would break if I couldn't work or hustle or grind or have the action. I'd break. So for me, it's not about the dollars and cents. For other people, maybe it is dollars and cents, and the difference between 100,000 and $1 million lets them buy all those things, do all those things they've always wanted to do. Some people literally want to buy a Lamborghini. I have empathy for that. I do. I wonder why. I hope it's not because they want to prove to you need to understand why. But the big thing I would tell everybody is to understand is what's the difference between 80 and 160 in your happiness and in your finances. For me, it may not be the biggest difference financially, but happiness, that extra 20 hours is everything because I want to do that. I want to do that. I don't know what to say. The end. And so I think you have to know yourself.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think that's good advice. When I read, Crush It back in the day, that was one of the very first entrepreneurial books I ever read. What I loved about that was your push towards again, hours in the seat, hustle. I remember there's a line in there you talked about where, if you want to build your business, if you're not happy, I guess I should start with that. If you're not happy where you're at and you need to hustle and you build your business, go to work from 9 to 5 and then spend a couple hours with your family. And then you got until 9 till 2 a.m. to go work on your business. That drove my wife and I to go spend every night till 2 a.m. working on, nasty rental properties. Because we're no, we are not happy where we're at. And so that drove me through that. So again, I do want to recommend people read that. You've got a new book coming out, Crushing It, which I just got finished reading, an advanced copy. I loved it.
Okay, so first of all, this is huge. This happens every year. Okay. Every time. This is my 4th business book. Yep. You're the first person I'm talking to that's read it.
Oh, nice.
So I'm super pumped right now. I I want to apologize to everybody listening to the podcast or watching or whatever you guys do. I need 3 to 4 minutes for myself now. I'm going selfish.
That's all right.
But I'm I'm really excited. So, okay. What? Give me some, like, what, how about, give me your, so you read it.
Yep.
When'd you read it?
All right. I read over the last 3 days. So I got it from your team like
so
4 days ago.
What was the biggest kind of like first takeaway or aha? Like, give me the 3 bullets.
Sure. All right. So I love stories. I love like hearing how things work in other people's life. There's theory, right, which is good. But what I liked about Crushing It is there's just like story after story after story of people who are actually doing it. Some guys that I know, like John Lee Dumas or Pat Flynn, other people I'd never heard of in my life that was just like really fascinating stuff. So that was super, super cool. Also cool was, you know, there's a lot of break into social media, right? So how does Snapchat, honestly, Snapchat scares me. I have one, but I just use it for the funny faces, right? But like, I probably should be using that. You talk about Alexa skills. I'm fascinated by that. We're totally going to build BiggerPockets Alexa skills now. Anyway, I like that take of things. Go ahead.
Let me tell you about Snapchat real quick.
Please.
Filters, geo filters, like literally putting a filter. So everybody listening, you know those filters when you scroll through the bottom, it says New York or Los Angeles or the time or what have you. The fact that you can make a custom filter and put it over a location is super fascinating. And my big thing is that it's clearly an under 30 platform. So everybody who's listening, if you're trying to recruit somebody under 30 in the world, I highly recommend buying filters on college campuses. You can get free interns that way. Like you could say, want an internship? Like the filter that you design on like Photoshop could say, want an internship? And for $6, you could get hustlers. Like there's so much smart. So I'm glad the Snapchat thing caught you. Was there any takeaway tangible? Like, oh, I want to try that.
I mean, definitely the Alexa
There's
thing.
the Alexa stuff we talked about last night.
That was one of the biggest takeaways. You know, I have not used a ton of social media in my past with my real estate because I'm like, well, you know, I mean, I use it in my own personal life, but, you know, real estate's the second oldest.
This podcast is social. Yeah,
Alexa's talking to me.
Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, so like I don't use a ton of it, but I did this interesting study the other day. Well, not study, but in a Facebook group of real estate investors I'm part of, somebody asked the question, what's the number one way you're getting tenants today to come to, you know, to rent your properties? And the options were like, you know, Craigslist, ad in the newspaper, street sign. You know what was like absurdly took over the entire chart? Facebook. Like Facebook has overtaken, Craigslist has overtaken newspaper, everything. And like I've just begun playing with that.
It makes me so happy. Anybody who's been paying attention to me for the last 18 months, I've been diarrhea of Facebook. Like and honestly, like if Facebook goes away tomorrow, I don't give a. It's just, it works and it's underpriced. The end. And you gotta look, a screwdriver works. It works better for somebody who fixes things than it does for me because I don't use it as well. Like I'm just coming from the gym. Like all those machines work, but if you don't know how to use it, and I think people think, you know, black and white, like, oh, Facebook doesn't work for my business. No. Yeah. You haven't put in the 50 hours to become good at Facebook for your business.
Yeah.
The end. Like for anybody listening right now, like this will be the takeaway. Go figure out Facebook in 2018. It will be the biggest financial upside of your career.
Yeah.
Right on.
I love that.
All right. So how specifically take a real estate investor, right? They need to find motivated.
Quick, I'm screwing up the show again, real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Punchline being, obviously I'm on with you right now and you know me, but net, you intuitively think Crushing It is going to be a popular book.
I do. I think it's going to be good. I think everybody listening to this show, at least, you know, a couple 100,000 people should go out and buy it.
Because you think it will either inspire them and or paint pictures and or give them a practical advice or two worth the $18.
I think, and I think that people do not see social media because real estate's like the oldest profession, right, or second oldest profession in the world, right? It's so like, why do you need to use it? Like, I do believe that. Like, I believe that is the future, and I believe that's one of the reasons I like listening to your stuff. Is like you have been harping on that for a while. Like, social media is not a fad. Social media is the future, and so
it's the current state of the internet. More interestingly, it's the current. To me, it's, that's the bigger part. It's not the future. It's not like, hey, real estate person, in 3 years everybody's going to be here, so get ready. No. This marathon is happening right now. Yeah. I have a friend who bought a $17 million home from one Instagram photo from a real estate agent.
Wow.
Like I don't think people understand what it's just attention. Yeah. It's just attention. It's why podcasts are important. It's just attention. Like hundreds of millions of people are scrolling like this through Instagram and Facebook every day. And a lot of those people are buying,
Yeah.
including homes and art. And I mean, Cartier and Sotheby's and Christie's, they're selling. My friend told me that they sold a $3.7 million piece of art off of a post on Facebook. Like real stuff is happening. And it's no different than a magazine or a newspaper or television show. It's just attention. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's the question?
No, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. So the question is practically, how can a real estate investor who's looking for opportunities, who's looking for deals that are off market, how can somebody who's trying to find tenants, I mean, Brandon gave a great example before, but how can those person today dive in on Facebook or Insta and get this stuff figured out?
Two ways. One, you use it to create real life interactions. Two, you use it to build your brand. So crushing it is a manifesto of how to become the person in people's mind when they transact. Yeah. If you put out tons of videos and pictures that you spend money buying real estate and you're that person, and you don't want to sell a $50 ebook, but if you want deals, and by the way, sell a $50 ebook. But if you're putting out content that says, hey guys, I'm Gary Vaynerchuk, I live in Manhattan, I buy real estate properties in warm weather places with the ambition to develop them into the future resorts of America. I will be doing this for the next 50 years. If you think that's interesting, or if you have anything to talk to me about, leave a comment. If you run $100 and you run that against people of $100,000 net worth or greater in a 10-mile radius of where you live, here's what happens. Somebody just thinks that, and then you write copy to your video. Everybody knows what Facebook looks like, right? And says, I'm in the real estate investment business. If you're looking for some money or you're looking for some opportunities, let me know. So now somebody watches that, of the people I spend $100 of, and their uncle owns property in Costa Rica and their aunt has been diagnosed with cancer. I'm going rogue. I'm going with real life. I don't want to use this analogy. It doesn't make me happy. I'm just talking to you about life, right? Actually, I'm in too good a mood. I don't even want to use that. The uncle just won the lottery and he's moving, and the uncle just inherited the great-grandfather's money and he doesn't want to work anymore. And on a spec, he bought property in Costa Rica 15 years ago. You, the nephew, know that. And you forward the link to the Facebook video and the uncle reaches out to me. I mean, life. It's so easy, actually. It scares me. It's just that people aren't willing to take the risk and the reward. I'm willing, and have always been willing, to waste 30 hours and $3,000 on spec to learn Facebook. And if nobody emails me with Costa Rica beachfront property, who gives a I learned something.
Right.
And I know that the attention's there, the end. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Put in the time, put in the effort, and give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, try something else and keep playing with it until you figure it out. I mean, that's the game, right?
Yeah,
that's the game.
I love that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love that. I love the idea of social media again. And like you said, I'm such a big believer in being the guy. Like you said the word, the guy. Like I want to be the guy who buys nasty properties in my area. I want to be the guy who buys mobile home parks or trailer parks. I want to be the guy that buys apartment complexes, right?
Because you're smart, because it's good business.
It's good business. I'm just closing my first one today.
Honestly, Facebook, Instagram, podcast. Yep. Let me give you a good one. I would put a Facebook ad in the area in a 50-mile radius, which is the area but wide.
Yep.
I would, again, target people of a certain income level because they're likely to own certain things of that nature. And I would create a dinner series. The video that you put out on Facebook is, I do investment real estate dinner series, 20 people RSVP. If you're interested, RSVP right here, and I will pick 20 people and send out an invite in a week, right? So now you've used Facebook locally to create a dinner that you're going to pick up the bill for. You're going to create a Google form URL where you get to ask any question you want. You know your business, right? So they have to fill out 13 questions. Now they have to RSVP and fill out 13 questions. You spent $1,000 on the ads. You spent another $1,000 on the dinner. You're in for $2,000, right? And you are in for 5 hours of reading 89 or 3 hours or an hour of reading 137 applications. And you pick 20 people, right? Now you've got 20 people where you're the maestro, you're the guy, you're sitting around, and a million different things can happen. You could buy from two of them. Two of them could work for you for a year for free to learn. There's just a million different things that can happen. Now you've used Facebook digitally to create a real life experience at a dinner. Now you go to you do it once, you go to second time to a restaurant and say, hey, I'm bringing 20 people. Can you comp me the dinner? So now you've saved your 1,000 back. Like, just smart, hustle, smart, hustle. That's how you become the guy.
I love that.
Content.
I love it. Well, before we get out of here, I want to shift gears over to the last segment of the show, which we call our fire round.
It's time for the fire round.
Now, these are questions from our audience, from people who are part of our community. I actually asked all these on Facebook, so I'm going to just fire them at you and see what you got to say.
Let's go.
All right, number one. Daniel Tansel asked, what are your thoughts on New Year's resolutions and why most people don't keep them?
Because it's a bad concept, right? Like, why do you need January 1st to start getting your life in shape? Use February 3rd, use March 9th, use December 16th. It's just a bad concept.
All right.
Nice. That's great. All right. Derek Clifford asks, what does your morning routine look like? How important is a morning routine?
I used to not have one. I have one a little bit more now because I work out every morning, first thing in the morning. I don't think it's that important for a certain group of people. Other people a little more, like, I don't want to call it OCD, but like they like to, my dad and my best friend Brandon, who run Wine Library, are very similar. They have to like lock the door 3 times, triple check this. Like, I'm like ridiculous. I'm completely like, I don't need a routine. It's not important to me. I think self-awareness is important. If you know you need a routine, stick to it. If you don't and you're functioning and you're happy, you don't need to force it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. My buddy Sean O'Neill asked, what is your favorite wine region in the world? And then he said, if you say anything other than Washington State, I have to hang up on you. But I won't hang up on you. What's your favorite wine region in the world?
Funny? Because I don't want you to hang up on me. Walla Walla, Washington, which is a side island, is one of my 5 favorites. So I'll give that to him. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Portugal and the Dow region. So I would say Portugal.
Okay. Cool.
Perfect. All right. Phil Trujillo asks, if you can invest $10,000 in something right now, what would you invest? And what about 100,000?
Both answers would be Facebook. And I'll tell you why. Now, that's for 98% of people because they need it to return. For the 2% that could let it go to zero, I would go completely the other way and do something ridiculous, like buy beachfront property. Like in your guys' world, I would buy beachfront property in some ridiculous place in like the Caribbean or South America that nobody's ever heard of, that like you're not even sure if like the government is stable, like just complete or some new cryptocurrency that popped up literally today and is 1 cent, or just something extremely high risk, high reward. I think people are confused with the way they invest. They invest in the middle. I'm a big fan, if you noticed on my 2 answers, to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
For 98% of people who need the money to return, Facebook or Amazon, because it will return in a 5-year macro. Just don't touch it. When the market goes down, you're good. For people that are fortunate, maybe like me, 2%, go bonkers crazy in the other direction, where it's more just fun of the story and the financial impact means something. It actually, getting a 5,000x return, that means something, whereas you can't get your juices going for 20 or 30%.
There you go.
Makes sense.
All right. Jordan Thibodeau, I'll say this is the last question of the fire round. Jordan Thibodeau asked, you talk a lot about hustle, but many failed opportunities hustle as hard as the successful ones, and they come up short. So how much of success is due to luck?
I don't think it's luck. I think it's talent and work ethic. I think talent is the one nobody wants to talk about because it's like being beautiful. Yeah. Like, you can't change it, which is why self-awareness is my jam. Do you know how many people are real estate investing right now, or doing social media or wine or writing books, trying to think about all our joint things, that are the 3rd best pasta cook in the world and will never know it? Do you know how many people right now are making $400,000 a year selling homes, but would be making 2.7 selling art?
Yeah.
Do you know how many people, I can go on. I've made my point, right? Like,
that's a great point, man.
That's the point, guys. The point isn't about luck. Luck happens every day and people don't see it. Like, people don't have the talent to, was it lucky that I met Mark Zuckerberg? No, I made a video that caught his eye. Like, there's a million things that happen. Luck is the wrong way to think about it. It's not controllable. The thing that's controllable is putting yourself in a position to try different things and see what makes you happy. the big thing about crushing it and crush it, to tie it all together here in a bow, is I talk about doing stuff that you love. When you love it, well, then you work 15 hours a day. If you're working 15 hours a day just for the money to then do the thing you love, you lost.
Yeah, that's great, man. All right, before we let you go, last question. Yeah. What sets apart successful entrepreneurs from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
It's so fun that literally the last thing I said is the answer. It's the people that are happy with the process versus the people that are looking for the pot. I love making the rainbow, not getting to the pot of the goal at the end.
Like the Jets.
I love it. That's awesome, man.
Like the Jets. To me, like one day I'll be 87 and people are going to tweet 30 years from now or whatever we're doing and saying things like, well, Gary Vee, don't listen to him. He didn't achieve his goal of buying the Jets. And the truth is they missed the point.
Yep.
I've already achieved my goal. It's the chase of the Jets.
The journey. Yep.
The journey,
awesome.
Brother. So, guys, I love you. Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Thanks, man. Enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, guys, that was Gary Vaynerchuk, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, that was great.
That was great. You know, I whenever I talk to Gary, or I shouldn't say talk to him, I hear from Gary, I always leave inspired. So there is a video, and if you guys are not driving right now, if you're like at a computer, go to Google and type in read this if you need some motivation.
Yeah.
And there's a blog post that this guy put out on a site called, it used to be called Think Traffic. Can't remember what it's called now. Read this. I'm going to look it up. Anyway, in there, he links to a keynote speech that Gary Vaynerchuk gave. And it's unbelievably good. I'll actually put it in the show notes at biggerpockets.com/show 264. I'll actually put that YouTube video there, and it's definitely not family friendly in terms of the language, but it's unbelievably good. That fires me up every time. So anyway, I love talking, hearing from Gary, because it just leaves me fired up. We talk all the time. Yeah, me and him are BFFs.
Besties.
Yeah,
nice.
you know. But no, anyway, I love that. And again, it reminds me of that, like we are in a different world than 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And the people who can harness the tools that we have in today's world, like social media, can really do some amazing things. Like even the idea that he came up with the top of his head on the show for real estate investors, I thought that was fantastic. Like building a dinner for people, like whether
that's clever.
Yeah.
Well, it's akin to the putting together a real estate meetup group in your area, which we talk about all the time on the show, right? But it's just a different angle to take. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, social media is, quote, new media is current media. People consume. Nobody reads magazines anymore. People are spending less time on television. People are spending less time with other people. They're spending more time on their phones, flipping through pictures and stuff. By the way, I just took a month off of social media, and boy, do I feel good. Yeah, while I've been dealing with all this stuff, I have not been on social media except to post a video yesterday that I think some people would get a kick out of. But
that was pretty awesome. You eating a pickle? Yeah, that was great.
Oh man, that was horrible. That was horrible.
You guys don't know how much Josh hates pickles. Like, if a waitress walks out with a pickle on the plate, even though he's told her not to, he will straight out just yell and scream and throw the pickle across the room. Okay, you're not that bad, but you will send that plate back, even if it's like the pickle's like within 10 feet of that plate. It goes back.
Yeah, well, and it was I ate a really nasty pickle sandwich. As a way, for my daughter, basically, because I told her I would do some really nasty thing if she worked her butt off, and she did. So, but anyway, new media is current media. That's where people are. That's where they spend their time. That's where they're consuming information. So if you are not there, it doesn't matter what your profession. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Real estate, accounting. That's where people are going to find you. So that's why I think Gary and his books and what he's doing is so important. Because I think people still believe that social media is like this newfangled thing that no, that is where. It is literally, and as much as it disturbs me, because it does disturb me, like I very frustrated when I go out and about and I see people who are just glued to their phones. But it is a fact of life. Like people aren't experiencing life anymore. They're glued to their phones. Well, if you are a business person, you better capitalize upon that. You better use that to your advantage. and reach them where they are. But the fact of the matter is people are spending way too much time on their phones. They are glued to this stuff. But hey, if they are, catch them where they are.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I still use that Moment app on my phone to try to get me to limit how much time I'm on my phone. I love that thing.
And the other big thing, by the way, about talking to Gary, he dives in on figuring out who you are, right? I love how he talks about, look, you can go and make $1 million doing something you hate, but you hate life. Why the hell would you do that?
Yeah.
Right. I also liked, again, where he was talking about, hey, what's the difference between 200 and 300,000 at the end of or 60 and 120, if you're miserable. Yeah. So figure that out. If it's not real estate, find out what it is that makes you happy. The thing about real estate is it gives so many people opportunities to get out of those things that they do hate. And that's why people love it so much, I believe.
Yeah, that's why I love it. Now, people will say from time to time, like my buddy Seth Mosley or even Ben Leibovich will say it. Like they don't like real estate. I actually do like real estate a lot. They don't like real estate. They like what real estate gives them, right? They like the freedom, and it's I firmly believe this. I think you firmly believe it. Real estate is the number one best way for the average person to build wealth in America today. Like you don't have to be born with a silver spoon. What?
Or start some kind of business, but I think real estate lends itself to more opportunities. I think it's easier than starting a business, but it is starting a business. It's a kind of business.
It is a business, and here's my thinking with business, like. Now I could be wrong here, but they say like 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. I don't believe that 90% of real estate investors would fail if they're just like doing what they're supposed to do.
Once they start.
Yeah, once they start buying property.
Never get started, right?
Yes, and that's probably why it's harder to invest in real estate than it is to go start a Tupperware business or whatever. But I feel like real estate is more secure. I mean, I love business. I start businesses all the time because I just really like business. But most of my business ventures that I try to do end up failing. But real estate's like my one constant that I just know that it's going to work out.
Yeah,
the what?
Nothing. Don't worry.
Are you making fun of me?
I was just talking about some failed business ventures
like
that
my wooden sunglasses business or my
look.
Whatever.
As I talk smack about them, that's why I love you, man. I mean, like I trying, and that's what it takes, right? I mean, you just got to keep trying.
Yeah, there's a great quote that says, I think Cuban said it maybe. Like it was like the great thing about entrepreneurship is you only have to be right once. Because like you can fail and fail and fail and fail and then hit one right and then you're good for life, if you hit the right one.
By the way, that whole idea that you had about creating iron kites to fly, I think it's trying that one.
It was not iron kites. It was just normal kites. The kite business. The kites are a cool business model. I still want to sell. I have like 400 kites in my closet that I still want to sell someday, but I probably won't do it. Here's what I found. I think this is an interesting topic. So like a year and a half ago, I had this idea. I wanted to sell kites on the internet. I thought that'd be a fun thing to sell, right? And I started getting into it. And I realized that building an online business, was ridiculously hard. It was way harder than real estate was, which I was shocked at.
It's really hard, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's
hard.
really, really hard.
So I still would take real estate over it any day. I mean, maybe 5 years ago it was easy. I don't know. Like there's a lot of gurus out there talking about how easy it is. Like, furthermore, it distracted me from a lot of things that I probably should have been doing. Like, shouldn't have hired my brother. I should have just hired him to do my core competency, which was real estate. He should have just been finding real estate deals, which is how we're going to shift moving forward. Anyway,
makes sense. Yeah, cool. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, listen. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a couple nuggets out of it. Again, we thought there was enough value in there to make this a worthwhile show. If you take one or two lessons from any show, anything that we do, anything in life, right? You read a book, you walk away with one nugget. I certainly walked away from some stuff and really appreciate Gary coming on the show today, and look forward to hearing you guys' feedback on everything, and obviously I'm excited to see Brandon's kite business get off the ground.
I'm done with the kite business. All right, well, let's get out of here.
All right, man. Well, I'm Josh Dorkin, host to the Bigger Pockets podcast. Big thanks to my replacement hosts for filling in for me while I've been gone, and future filling in for me when I'm not able to be around. But thanks to everybody. Thanks for all the support. Brandon, thanks for holding it down. And until next time, I'm out of here.
You're not going to sign up with... This is Josh Dorkin signing off.
There you go. There it was. Nicely done.
You're listening to Bigger Pockets Radio, simplifying real estate for investors large and small. If you're here looking to learn about real estate investing without all the hype, you're in the right place. Be sure to join the millions of others who have benefited from BiggerPockets.com, your home for real estate investing online.
Big gun.